That was Le Goût de la Fête by French singer-songwriter Owlle. After 2 acclaimed albums, France and Heavy Weather, she's back with a new LP. It's called Folle Machine, which I guess you could translate as Crazy Machine, inspired by anglo-saxon pop. She used to compose mainly in English, but this record is mostly in French. And to tell me more about it, I'm joined by Owlle. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Welcome to 24. So tell me about this album. What inspired this third album, and in particular the title?
Folle Machine is inspired by my own chaos because it was a strange period of my life when I started to compose this album, and I wanted to refresh everything around me. I had the feeling everything's going crazy, so for me it was it refers to my own personality at this moment, but it refers to this beauty of chaos. For me, it's not in a dramatic way, you know.
Mm-hmm. The beauty in chaos, I like that way. So your first 2 albums were in English mainly, and here you decided to switch to French.
Yeah.
Why the switch?
It's strange to say, but my inspiration were most anglo-saxon music. Mm-hmm. So I started to compose with English words because my references were more divas from 90s and electronic music. And I think it was difficult for me to find the good balance between French words and the music direction I wanted. Mm-hmm. But when I co-wrote Mirage, the song in this album, it was like a revelation, and it was as an evidence for me to continue in French for this album. I think it's the most intimate album I wrote.
So you went back to your
It's why maybe I was ready for that.
Yeah, going back to your heart for singing
exactly.
in French. Well, we're going to listen to another track off the album.
Of course.
Called La Flemme. Take a listen.
J'ai pas le temps de soulever la tête, ton silence. Oh, j'ai trop la flemme. Sentir en moi le poids, les distances, ta présence. Oh, j'ai trop la flemme. Oh, j'ai trop la flemme, la flemme, la flemme. Oh, j'ai trop la flemme.
So that was La Flemme by Owlle. Amazing music video there. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's going on there? You've got a brace on your leg. Did you hurt yourself, or is this part of the performance?
No. It was just it was fake for the video. But I realized when I wanted to make this video, I realized I never use my own stories to show my music. And when I was younger, I had a back surgery.
Okay.
And I wore a corset for a long time.
You wore a brace around your...
So when we worked with the choreographers, Karine and Olivier from I Could Never Be a Dancer, we wanted to talk about the constraint and why we can move with some difficulties. And it's why I think it's really minimalist, but very powerful, you know. You can be sexy and very smart with difficulties physically or mentally.
And so that comes across in your music video. And you really do have a unique visual landscape, whether it's in your album cover or your music videos. You actually went to art school before you went straight into music. Is this inspired your...
Yes, I think it's helped me a lot to create my own aesthetic. And I used to work with different artists from photography or director. And for this one, the idea was to mix some digital aspects with something very sensitive. And I know it's a bit trippy, but it was intentional.
It definitely it works, and it works really well with your music as well. So this album, your third album, you switched labels for this album.
Yeah.
So what is it like for an artist to switch labels? Is this an opportunity for a completely new you? Is it a...
Yeah, I think I was a bit frustrated by the process of the music industry in a big label. Mm-hmm. So it's why I decided to create my own label called Quiet Club in reference to Brian Eno. And it was very important for me to release my music exactly what I wanted. And it's a lot of work because you have a lot of pressure. It's really different, and sometimes it's difficult to be focused on your creativity. But I think it's really important and more modern to work like this.
So you're taking the power back on this third album. Now, your songs have appeared in some successful TV series like Scam and Emily in Paris. It's quite a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
What does that change for your career?
But it was a big exposure, and I think after the first and the second lockdown, it was great a great opportunity to share my music differently. And I always been excited by the relation between image and music. So for Scam and Emily, Scam it was different because I composed for the 4 last seasons, and it was another process. But for Emily, yes, I received a lot of messages from around the world, so it was great.
That's great. Definitely, like it reaches a different audience.
That's really cool.
So tell us about your songwriting process. So you do you work alone? Do you work with other people?
I start alone, but I never learned to read music or to play instruments. So for me, my first instrument is my voice, and I used to use programs and soundscapes. So for me, it's a bit hybrid process. So I can't really define how I work, but I love to collaborate at the end. But yes, so it's my own
Each
process.
song has its own process. So you perform under the name Owlle. So that's the kind of the word owl in English, and Elle.
Yes,
so
yes.
But your real name is France.
Oui.
And so what do you think about the French music scene these days? What other artists are exciting to you?
I think French artists are really interested today because they have a lot of important message to share, and I have the feeling they push their limits away. So it's really interesting for me, the French scene today.
Well, we're going to keep talking about the French scene and some other music news making headlines. It's festival season across Europe, and here in France, Les Vieilles Charrues is celebrating its 30th anniversary. It started out as a small get-together organized by an association in Brittany, and it has snowballed into France's biggest festival with some 300,000 music lovers a day. This year's lineup includes the crème de la crème of the French music scene like Clara Luciani, Juliette Armanet, Feu Chatterton, as well as some stellar international acts like Metronomy, Stromae, Angel, and a drone show every night. The festival's director, Jérôme Tréorel, told my colleague Ali Laïdi about how important this edition is after 2 years of the pandemic.
We are still here, still standing, still alive. I have to admit, it was an incredibly tough moment to live through. We had to pull the brakes so suddenly, and then we worked on securing the festival and the jobs that come with it.
So the Vieilles Charrues is back there. Owlle, do you have any favorite memories from a festival that you either attended or performed in?
Yeah, I think Rock en Scène a few years ago was my best memories on live.
Yeah, definitely excited.
And recently, no, I forgot, but recently I played at the Consulat in Paris, and it was more intimate, and it was beautiful because I put a structure on stage, and it was really minimal. So I was really happy to share this experience.
So it's kind of like a dance with a structure involved.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, exciting. Looking forward to seeing that. We're going to move on to some other music news with album releases. American sensation Lizzo is releasing her hotly anticipated 4th album and 2nd major label LP. It's called Special. Like in her previous work, she sheds light on important topics like self-esteem and inclusivity, all with a smile. Special is an infectious hit machine full of empowering anthems that are guaranteed to get you dancing this summer, like this song, About Damn Time. And finally, the Gen Z singer-songwriter Beabadoobee is releasing her 2nd studio album called Beatopia. This is the Filipino-British artist's follow-up to her 2020 debut album, Fake It Flowers. Matching 90s indie rock tropes with a melodic touch, she's won acclaim around the globe and certainly a cult following as well. And we're going to leave you with a track off that album called Talk. But before we go, I want to thank my guest today, Owlle. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Be sure to check out her third album, Folle Machine. For more arts and culture news, head to our website and stay in touch on social media. Stay tuned to France 24. More news is coming up right after this.